Hi there, I'm Cutsy and welcome to my channel. If you could please hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. It gets me out into that algorithm and it's helping me build my channel and have more people see me. Let's take back true crime and just get rid of the drama and speak the facts. Alright, let's get into today's case. Today I'm going to be going over the horrific case of Rebecca Park from northern Michigan. She was reported missing on November 3rd. She was pregnant, 38 to 39 weeks. She was about ready to give birth to a little boy named Tony. And we've since found out that on November 25th, she was found without her baby, unalive, in the Manistee National Forest. Now, one of the biggest things in this case that law enforcement has asked is that everybody, especially people online, just kind of chill. You know, stop with the misinformation. This morning, I woke up and I have not seen Betty on my timeline in months. And this morning I see her and she's using ChatGPT to get the facts of this case. And a lot of them were wrong. It was TikTok rumors, all this stuff. And there doesn't need to be that with this, with any of them, but especially something like this. So I want to stick to facts that we know and not make a huge circus out of this, because this is an absolutely heartbreaking case. And I don't care what someone's past is. No one deserves, especially not at 22 years old, to have their life ended in such a way. And by the people that did it. It's just horrible. So let's go over the timeline. And after that, we're going to go over her mother was in court today begging for a bond so that she could go on tether and be home. Yeah, isn't that nice? So let's go over the timeline. November 3rd, Rebecca Park reportedly was last seen on this night when she willingly got into the passenger side of a vehicle outside of a family member's home on South 21 Road in the Cadillac area. We now know that this was her mother's home. On November 4th, Rebecca was reported missing. Early November, extensive searches were conducted by police, including canine teams, a drone, and deputies on foot. Volunteer groups, including one calling themselves a recovery team, also worked to search the area. These groups are not affiliated with law enforcement. On November 13th, police issued a public appeal to Park to contact them, saying they understood she might be scared or hiding. "We assure you that you aren't in any trouble," sheriff's officials said in the outreach message. November 19th, sheriff's officials pushed back against the misinformation and vitriol regarding information about Park's missing persons case being posted on social media. Authorities said the online rumors and criticisms were hampering the investigation and their efforts to find Park. Because of the surge of online chatter surrounding the case, Wexford sheriff's officials said they were unable to share information about the case. November 25th, daytime, a female body resembling Park was found by the volunteer searchers in the Manistee National Forest near the town of Boone, northwest of Cadillac. It was an area that had previously been searched. November 25th, evening, Wexford Sheriff Trent Taylor, during a press conference about the developments in the case, declined to say whether or not investigators believed Park's body had been moved. He also declined to say how long the body had appeared to have been deceased. So, but what does it tell you? If this area had already been searched extensively, and they've said by drones, by canine, by searchers, by sheriff's department and state police searchers, and they found nothing, and a couple weeks later, these non-law enforcement affiliated recovery teams go out there, and it ends up being found by, I believe it was a young man and his dad that were hunting, and they went and found these searchers that were already out there and asked them to come and look. I don't know if they're out there hunting or searching, but they were out there, come and look, and unfortunately, it was Rebecca. November 26th, Park's fiance and sister were arraigned in court after being arrested after the body was found. Richard Fowler, Park's fiance, was arraigned on 2 counts of delivery and manufacture of a controlled substance. And we found out now that that substance is meth. And for being a habitual offender, 4th offense notice, his bond was set at an unusually high $1 million. Kimberly Park, Rebecca's sister, was arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence and lying to a peace officer and a false report of a felony. Her bond was set at $750,000. So again, an unusually high amount for something that isn't that huge, but I mean, they're still crimes. And now it's being said, and again, this is just rumor, but that possibly they were arrested on these other charges and gotten such exorbitant amounts of bail to kind of protect them, keep them away from the true suspects in this case. So until they could figure out what was going on. Almost a protective custody situation, because I'm telling you, these people are scary. They're all on rugs, and there's a lot of SOs, S offenders, that are connected to the biological mom and the dad, and it's scary to think that they surrounded themselves with these people. But anyway, now today, this would have been, by the time you're seeing this, it will be yesterday. Richard Fowler and Kimberly Park have now bonded out. Their bonds were lowered down to $10,000 for him and $5,000 for her. Now, this was also after they arraigned the biological mother and father. So, I don't know. This is all very odd. Police say autopsy results confirmed that the body found in Manistee National Forest is that of Rebecca Park, and that her baby was not found with her when she was found. Also on November 29th, police say autopsy results confirm that the body found in the Manistee National Forest is that of Rebecca Park, and that her baby was not with her when she was found. In a press release, the sheriff makes it clear that authorities have made it their priority to find out what has happened to Park's baby. The Wexford County Sheriff's Office, along with multiple law enforcement agencies, is working diligently to determine the condition and potential whereabouts of the baby. Because this is an active and ongoing investigation, the information that can be released is extremely limited at this time. In a nod to the online frenzy and outpouring of public questions since Park's body was found, the sheriff offered this assurance. We understand the public's desire for details and their demand for justice for Rebecca and her baby. We ask for your patience and understanding as we continue to seek answers for this tragic situation. November 30th, Park's mother and stepfather are in custody at the Wexford County Jail. It is not clear why they were taken into custody. No charges have been released, and their arraignment is slated for this afternoon. Sheriff's officials have said only that 2 people linked to Park's case were taken into custody on Sunday. That would be the bio mother and her husband. And now, little by little, some more details are coming out. When the prosecutor spoke at the husband's hearing, she was adamant that this person is horrible and the things that they did, and we're going to go over that in a minute. But it sounds to me like this poor girl she was surrounded by evil people, and this is really sad that this happened to her, and I really hope she gets the justice. It really sounds like police and investigators are really doing everything they can. And just please remember, we may not be being told all of the facts yet, but I saw a comment in one of the groups and it made a lot of sense to me. And this lady said, remember Kohlberger. Remember that we didn't know a lot, that we were so mad and we thought but they just didn't know anything. And once all of this stuff came out, a lot of us realized we had absolutely no clue how evil and depraved this man was. I don't want to call him a man, but the details that came out, that we found that they knew that we didn't know, and we really had no business knowing. So please, just when it comes to this and when it comes to talking about this and reporting on this, please just try to make sure that whatever you're saying is based in fact. There is, as with all of this, a lot of rumors going around. Just rumors about relationships and the family dynamic and all of that. And we don't know what's true and what's not. And if it's not going to help get this little girl, because at 22, I don't care. 22, she was a little girl. And her baby, the justice that they deserve, then it just doesn't need to be put out there. It doesn't need to muddy the waters. You can talk about all of it after everybody's in prison. That's how I feel about it. I watched Sebastian Rogers' case get absolutely decimated, and I really hope and pray that doesn't happen here. So let's get on to it. Yesterday, the bio mom, Courtney, which I am disgusted to have to share that name with her, was in court begging for bond so that she could take care of her other child. And we've now found out the details from the prosecutor of what really happened. I wondered when they quit asking. At first they were asking, this is Michigan and this is hunting season and it's cold and it's snowy and there's guys out in the woods, and they were asking for people that if you saw any sign of the baby, anything like that, please keep an eye out. And all of a sudden they stopped asking that. So, and I did read that there were warrants put out and that some burn barrels were possibly removed from the bio mother's home, Courtney. So let's listen in.
To amend that, but I do have to go through the charges with you again. It is alleged that on or about November 3rd, 2025, in Antioch Township and Boone Township, that in count number 1, you committed the offense of homicide, murder in the first degree, premeditated. That is a felony punishable by punishable by life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 2, it is alleged you committed the offense of homicide, felony murder. That is a felony punishable by life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 3, it is alleged that you committed the offense of torture. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. A consecutive sentencing may be imposed if the assault happened in a place of confinement. In count number 4, it's alleged you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit torture. That is a felony of life or any term of years and a $10,000 fine, and consecutive sentencing may apply if it happened in a place of confinement. In count number 5 is alleged that you committed the offense of assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. In count number 6, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. In count number 7, it is alleged you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by 15 years in prison and or a fine of $20,000. And in count number 3, it is alleged you committed the offense of dead bodies removing without medical examiner permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $5,000. Ms. Bartholomew, as I said before, those are the same charges you were arraigned on yesterday, but do you understand these charges and the potential penalties?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right,
This is her biological mother, mind you, in prison, awaiting trial for her murder.
Your Honor.
All right, we will go ahead and continue the not guilty plea and the request for the appointment of an attorney. And we will set the matter for a probable cause conference.
This is where I just couldn't believe that they would even think to ask for this.
Conference. Mr. Hartel, anything for the record?
Your Honor, I know there was a decision on bond just yesterday, but when I did meet with her earlier this morning, she did ask if we could address bond.
Ms. Carey, do you have any objection to that?
I do.
Mr. Hartel?
Thank you, Your Honor. I do, of course, realize and respect that these type of allegations are not required to have a bond set. However, I would ask the court to consider one. She does have strong ties to the community. She has advised me she has various medical appointments coming up that require CAT scans, other important conditions that I won't go into too much for protection for medical reasons. I believe yesterday I failed to mention that she does have a minor child that she's the primary caregiver for. I believe a 14-year-old boy, if I recall correctly. She would like to get home to him, help take care of him and her other obligations. I again know these are very heinous allegations. I would ask the court to consider applying as many non-monetary bond conditions as possible, and perhaps even a high monetary bond. I realize she's extremely low income and a high monetary bond would be very difficult for her to reach, but at least then it would be a possibility because she does have friends and family in the community who might be able to pool resources. I would ask the court to consider it, even if on the high end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
So we're supposed to feel bad for her because she has medical issues that she needs to get out for. She was fine to commit the atrocious act she
Thank
did.
you. And briefly on the bond issue, absolutely nothing has changed from yesterday to today. This, again, is as serious as it can be. And I believe the risk of flight, given these allegations, is just too high. And I would ask the court to continue the remand or holding her without bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court agrees that there's been no change in circumstances. While I understand there are some health conditions and the concern for a minor child, the fact remains that Ms. Bartholomew is, I find, a flight risk and a threat to the community. So I will continue to hold her without bond. Anything else?
Now we get to listen to hear her plead and try to guilt the judge into letting her go.
Your Honor,
Thank
can
you,
I
Jill.
say something?
Mr. Hartel?
If it's only applicable to bond, I wouldn't be opposed to it, as long as it's not about the underlying case.
It's only about bond.
All right.
I am willing to work with the prosecutor also,
So I'm not going to get into
and
that.
also to have my jail sentence from this jail to my home where I would be monitored at your guys'.
That is something I have no control over. I am not most likely than not, I will not be your sentencing judge.
I just need to be able to take care of him. I'm the only one that has custody of him.
Is Bartholomew, I understand, but the fact is I've found that you are a threat and a flight risk, and I am not going to, at this point, I'm not authorizing a bond. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Trigger warning, next we're going to hear from the prosecutor when she was at the arraignment of the stepfather.
They brought Rebecca Park to their home. They forced her into a vehicle and took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her, ultimately causing her death and the death of the baby. This is as heinous and as awful a case as it could be. And I don't believe there are any circumstances in which Mr. Bartholomew should be granted any bond.
Sadly, there you have it. Those are the facts of the Rebecca Park case that we know so far. I want to say again, I was absolutely just appalled and heartbroken when I heard just some of the stuff that Betty was putting out there today. And, you know, that's one of the things that I've been saying for a long time since all of these wars of the channels have been going on the past almost 2 years now between crime, true crime, all of this. You know, there are real people that are attached to these stories. And there are real people tonight that are going to bed missing them and sad and heartbroken because of the horrific things that have been done to their loved one. And in this case, a 22-year-old girl and her unborn full-term baby boy, for absolutely no reason other than just two monsters happened to be attached to her in her life. Her mother is obviously a monster. If she did it, if she had anything to do with it, if she hid it, if she planned it, whatever she did. And we'll find out. We will find out in the days and months to come. And one of the things that I don't care who gets along, who doesn't. I don't care who's friends with who. I don't care what channel likes who, what channel doesn't like who. So far, in my little corner, my little algorithm on my timeline, there have been two people that I have seen that have gone over this story and had some integrity and some respect. And they weren't hitting shock jock buzzers and laughing and joking around when they were discussing this, because there's absolutely nothing funny about this. Those two people were first I saw, I believe her channel name is Chasing True Crime. I'm going to put their links in my description because I think that watching them, and if they're going to follow this, that so far they've really shown the respect that this young girl deserves in getting the truth and not rumors out there. And the other channel is J for Justice. And like I said, I don't care what anybody personally thinks, who's friends with who. It's about this girl and her baby and the atrocities that were done to her. And she didn't deserve it, no matter what her past was, no matter what her present was, no matter what her family was, no matter who she was friends with. It doesn't matter. No one deserves to have this happen to them. And no one, especially no one, deserves to have this happen to them at the hands of their mother. So look for their links in my description of the two videos that they have done on this. And Jay has said that she's going to continue to cover this. I am going to continue to cover this. And I think that's the best way to battle misinformation and BS and drama, is to just continually go out there and have respect and have integrity and give people the facts. So, on that note, hug your loved ones tight. Make sure you're watching out for people. And in the days to come, we should find out more. It won't be pretty, but I really do. I'm going to hope and pray that this little girl and her baby get the justice that they deserve. Because like I said, absolutely no one deserves to have their life ended in the end, and their life of their child ended in this horrific, sickening way. Everybody have a great day. I'll see you later. I'm out.